Welcome back to the channel Old Coins Value Today's video, where we dive deep into one of the most fascinating and unbelievable stories in the world of coin collecting, a story that centers around the 1971 D1 dime coin from the United States. A small piece of currency with a face value of just 10 cents, but one that has captured the imagination of collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike, because of the potential for a single specimen to be worth as much as 24 million. Dollars, an astronomical figure that completely eclipses its everyday use as pocket change. And what makes this possible is the world of minting errors, dime mistakes, rare varieties, misplaced mint marks, and production anomalies that transform what seems like a common coin into a priceless treasure. And in this long exploration, we're going to look at the details, the background, the minting process, the historical context, and the endless list of possibilities that have led to whispers and claims that a 1971 D dime with certain errors could hold such immense value. So grab your seat, stay tuned, and prepare to be amazed, because the journey into the secrets of coins is far more surprising than most people realize. Now, to begin, we must remember that the dime is one of the smallest denominations in U.S. currency in terms of size and face value. First authorized under the Coinage Act of 1792 and featuring many different designs over the decades until the Roosevelt Dime was introduced. In 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt, which has been struck ever since, and by 1971 the U.S. Mint was producing billions of dimes across facilities including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with the Denver Mint using the D Mint mark. Yet within this mass production, a number of strange occurrences, errors, and anomalies can and did happen. And sometimes these slips created coins that would become legends among collectors. Now, when we talk about errors that create value, we are dealing with a wide spectrum, beginning with simple off-center strikes where the coin blank was misaligned during striking, to double die errors where the design elements are duplicated because of issues with die creation, to overstrikes and mint mark misplacements where the small d could appear doubled, misplaced, filled, or even missing altogether. And then there are rarer circumstances where planchets intended for other denominations accidentally received a dime design, or where a wrong composition of metal was used, for example during the transition years from silver to clad coinage. And the fascination with the 1971 D dime arises because there are persistent rumors and reports that certain error coins exist with extraordinary characteristics, making them one-of-a-kind rarities valued not just in thousands or millions, but in tens of millions. Because collectors with immense wealth often pay whatever it takes to secure a true, once-in-a-lifetime piece. And when we think about how such a value is calculated, it is not merely the precious metal content, which in clad dimes of 1971 is not silver, but copper and nickel layers. Rather, it is the combination of uniqueness, provenance, rarity, and demand that propels the price into the stratosphere. Imagine, for example, that a dime shows a double strike with rotation and simultaneously has a repunched mint mark. Plus, it is struck on a transitional planchet, such as leftover silver from 1964, or a wrong denomination like a quarter planchet. Such a coin would instantly stand apart from billions of ordinary coins, and collectors and auction houses would battle fiercely to own it, pushing the value ever higher. And throughout history, we have seen many examples where ordinary coins became legendary because of unique flaws, such as the 1943 copper penny, which reached values over $1 million, or the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, which is among the most famous numismatic rarities. And so the lure of the 1971 D dime possibly reaching 24 million is not impossible when we think in terms of rarity, collector psychology, and the potential of undiscovered specimens. Furthermore, when discussing mint mark errors, the D itself has a long tradition of quirks, with repunched mint marks, especially in earlier decades, being highly collectible, where the small letter was manually punched into each die, leading to doubled or misplaced marks. And while by 1971 the process had become more mechanized, anomalies still occurred, and a filled die could cause the D to appear faint or missing, or an overpunch mark could create a bizarre-looking mint mark. Now add in the possibility of a double die obverse or reverse, where Roosevelt's profile or the torch, oak, and olive branches on the reverse show strong doubling. And suddenly we have a coin that is completely different from the ordinary. And when rarity collides with intrigue, the numismatic market reacts with astonishing valuations, as history shows. Wealthy collectors pay not just for metal, but for uniqueness, prestige, and the story behind the coin. So when one speculates about a 1971 D dime being worth $24 million, it is not the face value that matters. Not the 10 cents you could use at a store, but the incredible tale of survival, discovery, and rarity that creates such a staggering number. Another layer to consider is the sheer number of possible mistakes that can occur during minting, from misaligned dies, broad strikes, where the collar fails and the coin spreads larger than normal, off-metal errors where blanks intended for foreign coinage are accidentally struck with U.S. designs, to transitional errors where composition changes mid-production. All of these categories could intersect in a single coin. And if such a coin exists from 1971 Denver, then its value would be astronomical. We also have to look at the psychology of collectors and auction houses, where the rarity of a piece generates headlines. Headlines attract bidders, and bidding wars push the coin's hammer price into figures nobody thought possible. 24 million may sound unreal, but when viewed in light of art auctions where paintings sell for hundreds of millions, the numismatic world can also reach shocking numbers because coins are miniature works of history, art, and culture that carry with them the story of a nation, a moment in time, and the craftsmanship or mistakes of the mint. And with each passing year is fewer. And fewer error coins are discovered from circulation, the surviving unique ones become even more desirable, to the point that their value increases exponentially. And imagine the scenario of someone finding such a dime in a drawer, a jar, or an inherited collection, not realizing that this little piece of metal carries the potential to change their life forever. And while many might dismiss it as myth, the coin collecting world thrives on such stories, with professional graders and authenticators examining pieces in microscopic detail to confirm their error characteristics. And once confirmed and slabbed in high grades, the coin becomes immortalized in auction records and coin catalogs, further solidifying its legendary status. And when we look at the Denver Mint in 1971, production was in the hundreds of millions, making the odds of finding a rare error like looking for a needle in a haystack. Yet needles are found, and that is what fuels the excitement, the endless possibilities, and the speculation that somewhere out there 1971 D dime exists, which is not just rare, but unique beyond comparison. And in numismatics, uniqueness equals pricelessness, leading to values that defy logic. Thus, the $24 million figure becomes more believable. It is the perfect storm of historical context, minting error, rarity, collector demand, and the intangible magic of numismatics. So, as we go deeper into this topic, we realize that the story of the 1971 D dime is not just about a coin, but about human fascination with rarity, with the possibility that something ordinary can be extraordinary, and that the smallest detail, like a mint mark out of place, a double-struck image, or a wrong planchet, can elevate a dime into the realm of legend. And as collectors and enthusiasts, we continue to search, study, and dream, because the thrill of discovery is as valuable as the coin itself. And maybe, just maybe, one day, a 1971 D dime worth $24 million will be found, rewriting numismatic history forever. We are diving into a truly fascinating story that will capture your attention from the very first moment. A story about a coin that you may have passed by without noticing. A simple piece of pocket change that most people would spend without a second thought. Yet it holds a value that is beyond imagination. And that coin is none other than the 1980 D1 dime from the United States of America. A coin with a face value of only 10 cents, but with a collector's value estimated at a staggering $22 million. And the reason it carries such a monumental price is not just because it is old, but because of the rare combination of minting errors, striking mistakes, and unique characteristics that make it one of the most desirable treasures in the numismatic world. And before we unravel the details, let us set the stage by remembering that every coin tells a story. Every tiny detail on a coin can hold meaning, history, and mystery, and the 1980 D dime is no exception. This coin, minted at the Denver Mint during a time when billions of dimes were struck. Yet hidden among the mass production was one piece, or possibly a handful of pieces that came out unlike the rest. These dimes bore errors that the naked eye could easily overlook, but for the keen observer and dedicated collector, these imperfections transform what is normally a coin worth only 10 cents into an extraordinary rarity. Now you may be wondering, how could a coin jump from 10 cents to $22 million in value? And the answer lies in a blend of scarcity, demand, historical context, and the mistakes that occurred during the minting process. The Denver Mint in 1980 was responsible for producing countless dimes featuring the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse, a design that had been in circulation since 1946. Yet in some rare instances, mistakes happened that slipped past quality control, such as double dies, off-center strikes, missing elements, unusual metal compositions, misplaced mint marks, and other abnormalities. Each of these mistakes in isolation can add value to a coin, but when combined in a single example, the rarity multiplies exponentially. Collectors around the world search for such treasures, and when one surfaces, the bidding can reach astronomical figures. And that is exactly what makes the 1980 D1 dime such a legend. It is not about the dime itself, but about the errors and uniqueness that surround it. And let us break this down further. Imagine a dime struck with a double die error where the inscriptions appear doubled, creating a shadow-like effect on the lettering and date. Such a feature immediately draws attention from serious collectors. Or consider an off-center strike, where the coin blank was not properly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to appear shifted or partially missing. Again, a rare and valuable feature. Now add to that the possibility of a mint mark error where the D indicating the Denver Mint was either misplaced, missing, or repunched, creating a unique look that is unlike any other dime. And if you combine these rare traits together in one single coin, you have a masterpiece of error, a coin that exists outside the ordinary and becomes a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Such coins are not only valuable because of their mistakes, but also because they tell a story of the minting process itself, revealing how even in a highly controlled environment, human error, mechanical misalignment, or unexpected circumstances can result in anomalies that slip into circulation. And collectors cherish these anomalies because they are the tangible evidence of history captured in metal. Now let us also consider the psychology of value. When collectors and investors chase after a rare piece, the price is not only determined by the coin's physical features, but also by the competition among buyers who want to own a piece of numismatic history. And so, when a 1980 D1 dime with extraordinary errors appears in the market, it sparks a bidding war that drives its price to unimaginable levels. This is how a simple dime, a coin worth just 10 cents, can reach a market value of $22 million. And the fascinating part is that you could be holding such a treasure without even realizing it, tucked away in a jar of loose change, hiding in an old wallet, or resting in a family coin collection. That is why enthusiasts and experts alike keep their eyes open for such finds, carefully examining every detail under magnification, studying the edges, the inscriptions, the mint mark, and the alignment to determine if they might have stumbled upon the holy grail of modern coinage. And the story of the 1980 D dime also reminds us that value is not just about metal content or face value. It is about uniqueness, rarity, and desirability. And in this case, all these factors converge into a perfect storm that elevates this coin into the realm of legends. And think for a moment about the journey of this dime. Minted in Denver in 1980, perhaps entering circulation unnoticed, passing from hand to hand in shops, vending machines, and pockets, carrying with it the secret of its extraordinary worth, until one day a sharp-eyed individual recognized the errors and understood its potential. And from that moment, the coin transitioned from ordinary currency to an object of desire valued at millions. And this transformation is what makes coin collecting so exciting, because you never know when you might stumble upon a hidden treasure. And the beauty of the 1980 D1 dime story lies not only in its astronomical value, but also in the fact that it symbolizes how small details can make a world of difference. A misplaced mint mark, a doubled inscription, a striking error. All these things that most people overlook are exactly what create value, and it teaches us to look more closely to appreciate the craftsmanship and history embedded in coins. And as we explore deeper, we realize that such coins become more than just money. They become cultural artifacts, pieces of history, and objects of obsession for collectors. And the allure of the 1980D dime continues to grow because it is not just a coin, but a legend, a story of how a tiny piece of metal can rise to unimaginable worth because of its imperfections. And this paradox is what makes it so captivating, that mistakes can sometimes create perfection in the eyes of collectors. And so the next time you come across a dime, take a moment to look closer, because who knows, you might be holding the next $22 million treasure. And as collectors, we're reminded that the world of numismatics is full of surprises, full of hidden gems waiting to be discovered. And among them, the 1980D1 dime stands as a shining example of how history, errors, rarity, and passion can combine to create something truly priceless. And that is the story of the 1980D dime. A dime worth 10 cents by face, but 22 million by destiny. An extraordinary journey of value born from error, carried through history, and cherished by collectors around the world.